Right now playing the waiting game to get something in the mail. Well, right now just waiting. But I'm excited for what's about to arrive. And it's here. How's it going, everyone? This is Kevin. Today I want to bring along with me to put the iPhone 14 Pro Max to the test and see how good it really is. So let's jump right into it. Well, it finally arrived, so I'm gonna go get changed and put this baby now to the test to see how good it is. Because I want to kind of do a couple of testing with the Sony A7S III and then the iPhone with the cinematic mode, just to see how good it can be for whenever you're in a pinch and you can try to use this one. That's the only reason I really upgraded, mainly because I had a good upgrade reason from my phone company. So yeah. Let's go get changed and get ready for it and test it out.
And now that we're changed up, we're gonna go out and go take some photos and videos with the iPhone 14 Pro Max and comparing it to the Sony A7S III, as well a little bit with the Sony A7 IV, since most people would probably get the A7 IV when it comes down to the price point. But we'll go ahead and do a little bit of comparison so that way you guys can see how well it works. We found our location to do a little bit of the video comparison, so we're gonna go ahead and do it right here and compare it first to the A7S III to the iPhone, and then maybe do a little bit with the A7 IV just for minor comparisons, since in reality, as we all know, iPhone sensors can't compete just yet with cameras, but it'll be a still cool fun little test to see how much they've progressed. So I'm just gonna simply put the iPhone on top of this. I have this phone mount kind of thing that I can put on top of my camera, just to try to get both as similar as possible when it comes down to it. So the wide lens is a 24mm, so I'm gonna shoot at 24 with a 17 to 28 of Tamron. And then it shoots the 3x telephoto in the cinematic mode, so that would be a 77mm, which I'll use the 35 to 150 and get it to the 77 range and go from there.
Done with that one. So now I'm simply going to do the 24mm range of the Tamron
with the A7 IV just to compare that, since it's a little bit more of an entry-level full-frame camera than most people might have. So I gotta sit down more comfortably. But that way you can see as well how it looks and see if it's something that you would prefer as well. So we're done comparing the photos and videos of the iPhone 14 Pro Max to the Sony A7S III and the A7 IV, kind of using them perspectively like that with the way that I can shoot with a cinematic style. For me, I know that this is not going to compare with my cameras exactly, and I would hope not because of how expensive my cameras are and the bigger sensors and everything. But can it get you out of a pinch whenever you need to get a little bit of a footage? By all means, yes. I mean, you can do so much with the phone now that sometimes people can't even tell when you've used your phone or not, especially with some of the photos that I've been able to take beforehand. So it's something that I think is very beneficial with the progress of all these phones and their cameras and the softwares in them, that it just makes it a lot easier to have a higher resolution camera all in one phone that you bring along with you at all times. Now, do I believe that it's going to take over my cameras? Probably not anytime soon. Maybe eventually if they can make the sensors of these cameras either bigger or the software itself becomes better, where it doesn't look overly digitalized. For me, the one thing that I see a lot is just around the kind of like hair sometimes, depending on the way the light is hitting, it can just make it very harsh to try to replicate a bokeh kind of style of background, which to me is what takes away a lot from these phone cameras to whenever it comes onto my actual camera. You know, it looks more natural and softer with an actual camera because you have more control over it rather than with a phone, and even the cinematic mode that you can choose and kind of pinpoint whatever you want to. So this is one of the things that I think is just not horrible, but it's still not there yet. And now I would like to believe that a phone can just take over my camera. I think it's going to be a long while. The camera that I think has been the most for a phone to be beneficial in all honesty has been the Sony Xperia 5 or 4, whatever it is. I don't know what models there are, I don't really have one, but I have noticed that they have really good quality and the setting style to kind of just make it a little bit nice. A lot of videos, so eventually I do want to get one of those because you can pair it with your Sony cameras as a monitor, but also the camera itself is phenomenal with the 4K 120 and everything, which an iPhone sadly does not provide just yet, but eventually I'm sure they will. I mean, I've been using iPhones for the longest of times now, but eventually I'm hoping to switch back to maybe a Sony kind of phone if it's going to provide better, you know, range when it comes down to the cameras of the phone line, so that I don't have to always bring my cameras with me if I choose not to. Because that's the one thing for me, is if I don't need to bring all my camera gear for something simple that I want to take photos and videos, it's nice to be able to just go ahead and bring my phone. The iPhone 14 Pro Max has been better, but I don't believe that it's done so much just yet that it's going to overtake any of my gear right now. So, but it will be a little bit of an aid whenever it comes down to having some macro photography, since you can do this with this. And also if it catches me in a pinch where I need to just use my phone and I didn't bring my camera gear, just because it's nice. I've done that before with my 12 Pro Max, so I'm sure with the 14 Pro Max it'll be a lot nicer anyway. And with having these backlit kind of moments with the camera itself versus the iPhone, I do notice a little bit of kind of like the loss of focus from the iPhone, which I know you can kind of fix a little bit in post with it, but it's still, it'd be nicer to not have to lose the subject when it comes down to having them being a little bit more kind of backlit, like if I want to kind of do this style right there and not lose that focus. But overall, still pretty good for a phone. I would think that if you don't have the budget to get more into the Pro line cameras just yet, and you're trying to dive into more, you know, photography and videography, an iPhone is going to be great, or any of those kind of camera phones that have good quality for the bang for your buck kind of style, so that you can dive into understanding more, using those apps to kind of make it more manual, and then eventually dive into having an actual camera. Because at least the good thing with having your phone as a camera, you still have a phone that you're gonna, you know, use no matter what, so you're not kind of just spending money to spend in case you don't like it too much. But that's just me. But with all that said and done, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, share this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.